So boom, today we have footage of a woman basically getting into why body count doesn't matter and stuff like that. I was watching Anton Daniels and he was reacting to this. And once it hit a certain point, I was like, no, I got to get this footage and do it for my channel. So couldn't find the actual footage. So you're going to hear him in the background and stuff like that. He has a different reaction to it. You could check it out. We have kind of different perspectives and things like that. We don't think identical. So I definitely wanted to give my own semi-unique perspective on this without it being too influenced by his or anything of that nature. So that's why I stopped the video. I didn't even want to hear what he had to say because I already had my own thoughts. So let's get into it.
The joke will always be on men when it comes to the conversation about body count. They make such a big deal about it. It's such a requirement that your body count is low and you're not ran through and blah, blah, blah. But the reason why the joke is always going to be on y'all is because you are never going to know a woman's real answer. You're never going to know.
Now, I'll just say this to that. Before we get into it, please put a like on the vid. Very short point. She's right. We'll never know the real number because they'll never really tell us, and we can never really get too in-depth about a woman's past. But this is the thing. There are going to be honest whole signals. That's the first thing. And also, you may find out certain things. You may find out some of her past. That's what it is. So when it comes to this body count thing, it's really just a social discussion. That's all it really is. The majority of men are not asking women directly what their body count is because we know you're not going to keep it a bean with us anyway, just to keep it very simple. So I may get into more of my theories later and stuff like that, but let's continue. So as far as the joke being on men, it's really not even that deep because we don't expect honesty from you when it comes to your past.
And the funniest thing about that is men are so oblivious to women and the ways of women that they really think they can look at a woman and tell if her body count is high or if it's low. A lot of men will marry a woman thinking she's good, not understanding how much she used to, what they say, bust it wide open and lay it wide back in her day. But because she carries herself as a classy woman and has been for the last 10, 15, 20 years, you think she's a good girl. I can assure you that the women who you think are good girls aren't. And they never were. They may have changed or something, but they're not the innocent, pure woman or women that you think.
So this is the thing about that. And I held myself back from saying this because I have to be more accurate with what I say, more detailed about what I say as this channel grows. I can't just spitball and just say whatever. But this is what it is. She is right to a certain extent. Because when it comes to most women, the first thing is that they are innate manipulators. Innate. So it's something that's just in them, and that's what they do. So when it comes to their value towards a man, they all understand. It's the image. It's how they present themselves. It's how they carry themselves. Some don't care. Some try to clean it up later. When they actually begin to care and they want a quality man, we're not going to get deep on that. So when they lie about who they are or they put out a false image and things like that, it's not just them capping for the sake of capping. They are capping and conducting themselves a certain way to get a certain result. That's what they are, to bamboozle certain men. And the reason that she's right about this is because when I was younger, there were women who I looked at who I was like, oh, she carried herself well, she not like these other How many times did I have to find out that this chick, as far as like these women who carry themselves so well, they're just so pure enough. How many times did I have to find out, wow, she's pregnant? Oh, well, I haven't seen her with any guys ever. So who's the baby dad? And then we find out who the baby dad is. It's one of the most unscrupulous individuals. It's the guy who is running through all the chicks, but he sell drugs and he is just like, he done killed 2 people. And it's like, wait a minute, you're a professional woman, you're educated, you church going and stuff like that. And this is the guy that you laid down with and had premarital sex with and had a kid out of wedlock with. I mean, it gets deeper than that. You got other chicks who it might not even be a baby dad situation and be, oh, she just carry herself well, da 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 da. Nah, she really seemed like a good woman and stuff like that. And it's like, bruh, you don't know the right people. You don't know the right people who really know her. And when you actually get around some people who actually know her, boy, they got a lot to tell you. Bruh, she used to, when we was at college, man, she used to get ran through on the club scene, man. Oh my goodness, she was so easy. Oh my gosh, she sucked up 5 basketball players. She sucked up the starting 5 a Duke. So all with in that one being crib, said, like, when you see certain women carry themselves a certain way, that doesn't necessarily mean just automatically that they were never freaky, that they didn't mess with a lot of guys, and that they don't have a crazy past. I get to an overall point to my whole body count theory and stuff like that around the end, but let's continue.
And the women who you think are the most promiscuous because she wears booty shorts or she's always twerking or whatever, those be the women a lot of times that men cannot get.
We all know that all of y'all for the streets.
Can use myself
all
as
of
an
them
example.
Is for the streets.
I will hop on a plane, go to Miami, put on some fishnet stockings, some booty shorts, and just be twerking all up and down the Miami Strip. And when men see me, they think, oh, she's probably easy. Look at how she's acting. 0 men get my phone number. 0 men even
and
get
I don't
my
even
attention.
believe that either.
Most of the time I tell them I'm gay or I'm married or I'm terrified of men. Whatever I feel like saying in that moment, depending on the guys, you'll never get me. Imagine thinking I'm a whore, but you can't even get this whore. This whore won't even give you eye contact, right?
See, that's amusing to her. But it's funny because it's like, and that's the thing. She started it off saying that men are so oblivious to women and stuff like that. In this space, we're not. We're just not. We know what's going on. And even outside of this space, even dudes who've never been in this space as far as this YouTube and internet talking about women, it's like guys in the streets really know what's going on. So we're going to start here as far as the dressing and you can't get this whore. We'll start there. The funny thing about that is that any guy who plays the game understands that you can't get everybody. Every guy who plays the game understands that just because a chick is a whore doesn't mean that she's going to have sex with you. Also, just because she won't have sex with you, that doesn't mean that she hasn't had sex with a lot of people. Now, this is the funny thing. This is the real funny thing, and I've said this on the channel before. When you look and you ask a guy, what is the ideal body count that you would want for your woman? Like, what is the ideal, level or limit that you don't want your woman to go over? Guys is going to say something like, I seen Boosie. Boosie is a guy who has slayed probably hundreds of chicks, right? He said 7. A guy like that, who is as freaky as he is, who has smashed all the women he has, and he's even paid for his son at like 13 to get sexual favors from an adult. That guy who just, he's running through everything, bro. He's running through everything, expects to find a chick with 5, 6, 7 bodies. Let me tell you something. And this is the real. There are chicks, this is what the low end is. The chicks that you think have nothing going on. They have 20, 30 bodies. They can have a quiet 20 to 30 bodies before they even hit 30. 20 to 30 and you won't know nothing about it, dog. You won't know nothing about it. So just because she won't smash you, that means she's not a whore? She's got 30 bodies, bro. She's got 30. And again, that's on the low key tip. That's like you won't even know. Was it, man, who is she fucked her, man? I don't know nobody. And listen, I know this because I be getting the inside scoop. I've seen this. I'm not saying this because I read this on the internet. No, no, no. This is stuff I have seen in real life. What chick is gonna lie about having 30 bodies? Like, come on, man. So I be seeing this stuff, bro. This is the other thing. When you get outside of the scope of women in your community that you typically mess with and stuff like that, the other dudes can tell you about. Some of them chicks may have 70 bodies and you don't know one dude that she smashed. 70 bodies. So when it comes down to it, like that whole like, oh, just imagine you can't get this, like every guy, everywhere, has faced rejection. Just because you reject a guy, that doesn't make you special. Just because you reject a guy, that doesn't make you not a hoe. And just because a chick is a hoe, that doesn't mean that she is, there is levels to hoeing. Every chick don't fuck everybody. Because again, there's a chick with 30 bodies who is very conservative about who she's smashing. Which you would think 30, how is you conservative? You smashing it. Like, listen, if you understand how much women get hit up, how much a mildly attractive woman gets hit up, and how many people she has to reject, for her to have 30, that is modest. That is modest as far as the amount of guys that are getting at her. If you had to do a ratio of how many dudes get at her over the course of however many years she's been fucking and only having 30 bodies, it's going to be a crazy ratio. Versus, and we're talking about the levels of hoeing, somebody who is just like, bruh, they just getting ran through so crazy on some Tiana Trump, I've smashed 300 dudes at a college in 2 years type shit. So with that being said, it's levels to this. Now, the other thing that I got to say to the whole, like, I could wear da-da-da-da-da, you think I'm a hoe, and like, listen, you dressing promiscuous and you dressing in lingerie in public and stuff like that, that is an honest hoe signal. I'm sorry. That is an honest hoe signal. You're not going to sit here and convince me that you wearing a whole uniform, like Dave Chappelle mentioned in that skit, that you're not a hoe. You're not going to convince me that you're a great woman and that's just fine. And this is the other thing about that. That's still your image. That's still how you present yourself. Even that by itself, regardless if you're smashing somebody or not. No guy wants a woman who is willing to expose herself to the general public. No guy wants that. So when you get down to the nitty gritty of that, it's like, yeah, you could, whatever. You could say, oh man, imagine this woman being like, guys don't want to get with a woman who is showing her butt cheeks and then tell her, yo, I don't want you showing your butt cheeks. And then she agrees to not showing her butt cheeks. Then you have issues of her wearing certain stuff when it's time to go places. And then even when she break up with you or y'all get into a little tiff or whatever, a little break, whatever it might be. Now she want to go crazy outside. She want to wear the thongs and everything everywhere, all that stuff, and just be wilding. So, nobody wants to deal with that. So these are the things that she is overlooking that she doesn't truly understand when it comes to not only men, but the game in general. Let's continue.
The joke is always going to be on y'all, right? Women know how to twerk, dance, drink, be yelling, hey, at the club and be doing all of that all day, and no man can get her. None.
That is just so insane to say and think is actually true that, oh, yeah, she's out here twerking and shaking her butt and no man could get her. Listen, let's just pretend like she goes out and nobody gets her that night. There's a guy that she's having sex with 9 times out of 10 that's not out there that she's going to go and fuck. Like, she's been, bruh, like, come on, man. What are we talking about? Why are we talking about hoes like they're abstinent? Why are we talking about party girls like they're abstinent? She said that no man could get. Yeah, chicks will do that. Chicks will go out and just be in shutdown mode and shut down a gang of dudes. Who cares? Who can't, like, you can't say no man could get her if she is doing a bunch of fucking. Now, this is the thing. Because, and that's how come I said the chick's acting like, oh man, this chick that we talking about is a virgin or something, or just real pure, not doing no fucking, celibate, but shaking her ass everywhere. There's certain things that don't go together. But look at this woman right here, bro. The reason that this is a topic to her is because 9 times out of 10, this bothers her. This bothers her, and it bothers her because she's a hoe. That's what it is. So she's saying this, and she knows, and this is the thing that kills me, like, she knows in reality how many bodies she had. She knows what one night stands she's had. She knows her life. But she will still get on here and just talk about a hypothetical woman or even herself, like, oh yeah, get the booty shorts nobody can give me and stuff. Bruh, that's the thing that be killing me about chicks, is just the dishonesty. You know how many chicks I done seen get caught up saying I'm celibate, and then I find out who they smashing? Like, come on, man. Cut it out, man. Cut it out. And it's nothing unique to just my area. This is something that chicks do all around America, all through Australia, all through Europe, all through everywhere on the planet, man. Anywhere where there's a first world country, even in some second and third world countries, this stuff is going on, man. It just depends on the culture.
Right.
Like, literally none. Good luck, right? So y'all really don't know, and you'll never really know, right?
Right.
Y'all will put so many emphasis on, oh, her body count has to be low, and it's like, you're never going to, I can't say this enough.
We know.
You're never going to know unless she decides to tell you the truth.
We know.
Right? Steve Harvey said, no matter what, your number is never over 3. Anything over 3, no matter what age you are, no matter how many times you've been married, no matter how many baby daddies you got, 3. Okay, that's your answer, right? And I'm not saying I've ever said 3, but I'm just saying, even a man said to not tell men the truth, because men can't handle it. There are men out there who can't handle the fact that you had a past before that they even met you. They're mad that they didn't meet you 10 years ago because you had a baby daddy or you were married or something. Like, y'all can't take these men seriously. And
sounds like,
so I think guys need to humble themselves, and y'all need to get over y'all insecurities and grow the fuck up. A woman is never going to tell you her actual number. Right. And the women who actually do have a low number, like that's 1 or 2 or 3 men in her whole life or whatever, those are women you most likely, if you care about body count, you're not going to get women like that anyways.
Yeah, I was really trying to let her cook so we could wrap this up, because all that insecurity stuff, all that is gaslighting, man. I'm not even tripping on that, but like, if you worry about body count, you're not going to get those type of, like, there's no logic to that. There's no reasoning to that. It's just pure bullshit. She is just talking to talk. Like, it's like the stuff that she is saying, it's only thing that she's saying that's on point is that we will never know a woman's body count, and that women are going to lie about their body count. That's it. That's the only thing that's on point as far as what she said. Like, the fact that she thinks that, oh, if there is a woman with 3 body count, you won't be able to get her because you care about, that's stupid. Especially when, if she has a low body count, she probably takes pride in that. And if she finds a guy who cares about, body count, and that appeals to him, that makes her more golden in his eyes. That validates her more. That makes her feel like she's been doing the right thing in a world full of crazy whores. So, like, it's just, I hope she tries to flesh this out with some logic, but I know that's not going to happen.
They're not going to be paying you any attention.
Really?
Chances are they're probably still married to the same person from high school for the last 30 years anyways. So
I am not a hater. That's a good point, because if they got scooped out the game early, that's what it is. The whole, like, she's not going to want you anyway stuff is bullcrap. But that right there, it was a cleanup, but it's a legit point. I am not a hater. That's a legit point.
You're not going to get those women. You can forget it, right? The pure women that y'all want are children, basically.
Oh man, you gotta let them talk sometimes, bro. You gotta let, because she just ruined it. She just ruined it. She just ruined it. So basically, what you're telling me is all the women out here is hoes. That's what you're basically telling me. Which I'm not gonna lie, I already believe that, and it's not something to like. Oh, it's so disparaging to women that you think. No, listen, the culture that we live in, just everything that's going on. If we're talking about just strictly body count, the women who watch this and have a problem with this and have some type of rebuttal and stuff like that, it's almost guaranteed that they're going to have over 10 bodies, bro. The pure women that she's talking about that are children, they're not going to be upset or concerned by this because it doesn't apply to them. It's just irrelevant to them. So I'm not going to keep responding to that. I'm just going to get to my theory as far as body count. So boom. Yes, you're not going to get the actual legit body count from a woman. You're not going to know the truth, et cetera, et cetera. So it's going to come down to two things. And this is something I've been saying for years in real life. I don't think anybody on the internet has this take, but reputation and morality. I break those two things down very quickly. Reputation. What can other men, and even in some cases other women, tell you about this woman's past? Even outside of what people can tell you, what do you know? How many guys have you actually seen her with? Have you heard stories and things like, because that's really what is important, and that's really what makes a hoe a hoe. That's why I say chicks do this. They do the hoe reset, which is another thing I've never heard anybody say as far as just a term, but the concept, I'm sure it exists in a lot of places. You mess up your reputation in your city, right? You mess up your reputation in your area. You hoe out too crazy. And what do? You get tired. You say, I'm tired of this city. Da, 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 da. You move very, very, very far away to where nobody knows you. Nobody can figure out your past and things like that. And you can begin to conduct yourself like somebody you're not and be that chameleon to where your reputation is not going to catch up with you. You've did all your mistakes in a different city, in a different area, and now you go somewhere and you bamboozle some unsuspecting fellow in a big city who cannot figure out your past. So that's the whole reset. But reputation matters. Reputation can destroy a woman's mating chances, like it absolutely can. So that's the first thing. When we talk about actually determining and judging, whether a woman is a hoe or not, or whether she's cuffable or not, reputation is going to be one of the big things. The second thing that is going to be tremendous, it is the manner in which she does what she did. I just say morality. For example, if she used her coochie to get revenge on her ex and fucked his dad, like that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy, and that's out of pocket. So when you look at something like that, that is completely immoral. Now, something that doesn't have necessarily anything to do with morality is still the manner in which she does certain things. So, okay, she had sex with 3 guys, right? 3 guys that she had sex with. If she was in relationships with all those guys, that's one thing. If these guys were just smashing her individually, separately, that's another thing with no relationship. And last, if they all ran a train on her at one time, that is diabolical. So when you figure out these things, it's about those two things, reputation and morality, or the manner in which these deeds were conducted. So that's really it. So outside of that, you have to do your whole facts. You have to do your due diligence, and you really have to vet women and really see who they actually are, what their character is and things like that, and really peep certain things about them. So I'm done for today, man. Let me know your thoughts. I'm out.